Well, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you how to install an emergency light. Very simple project. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to find a pocket here, and there's a receptacle right down below. We need to make sure that we're on this side of the 2x4. So if the 2x4 is here, we need to be in this area right here to grab the power from the receptacle. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, first things first is make sure that the power is turned off. If you have a tester of some sort to test that, that's great. If not, just plug a lamp or something into the receptacle to make sure the power is off. Once you've done that, then go ahead and remove the faceplate. And what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to find what side the 2x4 is on. And that's going to determine where we're going to put the emergency light up above. So by doing that, just take a screwdriver, and pretty obvious, there's the 2x4. And it is open on that side. There's nothing there. So that's the side that we're going to fish our wire up into the emergency light. So go ahead and remove this receptacle. You should be able to just kind of pull that out of there. Don't lose those screws. And just set that off to the side. Okay, now we're up on the top side here, and hopefully this doesn't end badly with my tripod sitting on this chair. So I've already measured over about 43 inches is roughly where I want to be. And what that's going to do is that's going to put me in that bay of where that receptacle is down below, where we just was. So the receptacle is roughly right about here down below, and I'm just going to put this emergency light here. There's no insulation in this wall, so I should be able to fish up the wire relatively easily. So I'm coming over about 43 inches, and I'm going to come down maybe about 7. That's roughly where I'm going to put the emergency light. So all I need is a small hole in here. I do not need a box for this particular emergency light, so let's go ahead and cut a hole here. Go ahead and take your keyhole saw and just here. Don't take your saw and drive it all the way through, because there could be some wires in this, so be very careful. Just little bites is all you want. Should be enough. If I need to go a little bit bigger, I will. All right, what we want to do next is we want to give us a hole to push the wire up in. And these boxes have a spot where you can just knock it out. And that's what will fall out of it, a little plastic tab like that. Now that's going to allow us to push the wire up inside. Now this circuit is a 15 amp circuit, and as you can see, it's got some 14.2 in there, and that's exactly what I'm going to be using here is 14.2. So all I'm going to try to do is I'm going to kind of push this up, and I'm kind of in line of where the hole is. So if I get lucky enough, I can just kind of feed that right up there because there's no insulation. You may need some help on this. If you have a fish tape that you can slide up there, great. But if you don't, just kind of push it up there as straight as you can, and hopefully you can grab it on the other end. Okay, that came up pretty good. You may find that you might have to have some help, someone to kind of catch it as it comes up. Where there's no insulation in the wall here is relatively easy. If you do this with insulation in the wall, it's a whole different story. So you might want to invest yourself in a fish tape. Other than that, just kind of do the best you can. All right, so what you're going to do now is you're going to take your emergency light, and I'll put a description down below where I got this. And what's nice about this one here is I don't have to have a box for this particular one. So you're going to want to remove the cover on here. All right. Pop that open, and this is the piece that we're going to need. Let's set this aside for now. So what's going to happen, this is going to act as your junction box. So we're going to pull the wires through on this particular one. They're not all like this. I'm going to pull this through like this, and then when we put this on, that wire is going to come through the box, and now this is going to be our junction box. Okay, so we're going to find out what we want to use for mounting screws. It comes with some mounting hardware. So I'm going to take this back off, and we're going to want to need to punch these holes out. It's very light plastic, so go ahead and punch these two out. So now what we want to do is we want to slide that back in like that, and we want to make sure it's level. So go ahead and take your level, set that up there. And go ahead and just kind of mark where those are going to go, like that. Now it's going to come with a couple of wall anchors. I generally don't like to use these because the ones that come with them are usually junk, but I'm going to go ahead because this is probably what you're going to end up with. So we need to have a little hole to put those in. So All you need to do is take a screwdriver. If you want to use a drill, that's fine. And you just need to drill a little hole, just like that. Do the same thing over here. All right. And take and push those anchors in. One. Go ahead and take the box plate again, feed that back through, and we should be able to install it. You can put them in beforehand if you want. I mean, that's why it's slotted. And go ahead and snug those down. All right, that's all set to go. All right, so now we need to wire this up. So let's go ahead and strip the wire back here. I usually just like to grab the ground and kind of strip it that way. You can strip it however you feel comfortable. And then I'll go ahead and cut the insulation off. The ground is, there's no place for that, so I'm just going to kind of coil that up. Stick that right there. Now this is set up for 277 and 120 volts, this light, and I am working with 120 volts. Go ahead and strip the wires. Our white goes on white. Black on black. And if you happen to be working with 277, that's what you'd have right here. We do not have that. I am going to go ahead and just cut the end off. And I'm going to take the spare wire nut that comes with it. I'm just going to kind of put that on there. Alright, so now all you need to do is just kind of tuck that in there nice and neatly. Now on your light, before you install it, it will tell you in the directions that you need to plug the battery in before you hook it up. So it's the only one that needs to be plugged in. Just go like this. And there we go. All plugged in. Now all we need to do is just line it up and snap it into place. There it is. So now let's go down below and hook it in the receptacle. Now down here is pretty simple. So go ahead and cut it off your spool of wire. And you're going to do the same thing. We need to strip the wire. Again, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to go and grab my ground. Kind of strip it like this. Get that insulation all off there. And I'm going to pull my wires out of there so I can get a hold of them. And I could hook them right onto the receptacle if I wanted to. I don't like to practice that way. I'd rather put it right on the pigtail. So I'm going to go ahead and start with my ground. Go ahead with my neutral next. And then my hot. Okay, so I'm going to start with my ground first. I'm just going to kind of accordion it back in there a little bit. Then my neutral. And then my hot. Kind of push them back like that. Make sure that the ground is not touching either side. I try to get that kind of down the center a little bit. Kind of push it in there. Kind of push it sideways a little bit just to double check everything. Everything looks good. Turn it back around here. There we go. The ground can be up. I usually do that in garages and so forth, but in this home here, the ground's all down, so I just turn it around. Push it in, check it, make sure everything is good back there, and then go ahead and screw it back in. Get the top one started, or bottom one. And then I just kind of like to push it in just to double check. Then hold it in and tighten it up. Go ahead and put your faceplate back on. Let's go turn the power on. There it is right there. So go ahead and push the test button and the lights will come on. And so they're all set to go. The batteries will charge up and they'll stay on for about 45 minutes. I know the other ones that I have around the area here, they'll stay on for half an hour to 45 minutes. So I know if you have a backup generator, these are not going to do you a whole lot of good. But if something fails, you're going to be able to find your way out. So well, I hope this helps you with your emergency light decision, and stay tuned for the next one.